Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wicked Wednesday. My name is Dr. Fish, and I will be your caster. I am also going to be stream operating, and I have a new face to casting in THL. I'm pretty sure you've casted other things before. But I have Roadrunner with me, who is fresh off of his debut on Tavern Talk, now having his THL casting debut. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited for this match. You know, it's playoff time. It's always an exciting season in THL.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah,
So,
we have a great two-seed battle today between JR Juggerlaw and Jammies.
yeah.
So, yeah,
So- and it
so
looks interesting with the classes they've brought too. So
yes.
but we might look at that in a bit. But
No,
yeah.
we're gonna go over
So,
them right now. I was just about to ask
all
you
right.
to read through their classes.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jammies has brought Druid, Paladin, Shaman, Warrior, and then JR Juggerlaw has brought Druid, Hunter, Rogue, and Shaman. So both have brought the Druid and both have brought the Shaman, and just switching up the other two classes here. So
Definitely.
yeah, I think Druid and Shaman are just so busted right now not to bring. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and they are very good classes. And well, Jr. will not have his shaman tonight, and Jammies will not have druid. So we'll have druid hunter rogue versus paladin shaman warrior. I am very interested by this match, or by the
Yeah,
specific class matchups. The players are ready. We'll go. I guess I'll ask, like, on first glance, when you look at this, what sticks out to you? Um, with some of these matchups. I think I'll let you go first while I keep in
sure,
contact with the
yeah.
players.
So yeah, taking a look at this, the Hunter is gonna be pretty hard to get the Hunter through, is what I'm seeing. Like, because I mean, you got like probably Buffer, Libram Paladin, probably Libram Paladin, and then you've got the probably like Quest or Burn Shaman, and then you've probably got Control Warrior, and those are all pretty nasty for Hunter. So now, if it's Quest Hunter, that's another story because
That's exactly what I was thinking. That I think this is a
Quest Hunter
yeah.
does better into Shaman. Um, and I'm not. I need to look at the Quest Hunter
It's
into
it's not good.
Paladin.
It's not great into paladin. It's a
Yeah,
pretty. It's not a great matchup there, but it is good into warrior. So
fair enough.
essentially, what
Yeah,
Jr. Need to have happen is he needs to kind of just essentially dodge the paladin with the quest hunter, or have his quest hunter get like defeat one of the other decks that
yeah,
that Jammies has brought, is what I'm looking at. I think Rogue. I would guess it's a Quest Rogue. I think Quest Rogue is a very good match. It's good, great into the Paladins, and it will struggle into the other two. So I think JR will probably be keeping that Rogue if it's a Quest Rogue as a counter to the Paladin. It'll be very interesting. Jammy side, I wonder if we're going to see Kazakas in Warrior, or if we're going to see Charge Warrior. And then I guess Paladin, it's kind of just which Paladin you want to bring. I think he'll bring Libram, very likely. Shaman will be interesting for sure. Um, as well, because Shaman has really three archetypes that can be played.
yeah.
But
Shaman's got a lot of flexibility right now,
yeah,
especially. So
yep. So I'm gonna tell the players that they can go ahead and play. Do not want to keep them going any for any. Don't want to keep them waiting any longer. We've got a super exciting gameplay to get to. So
absolutely.
for those watching on stream, Jammies will be our first to spectate. He will be on the bottom, and JR Juggerlaw will be on the top of our screen. So hopefully go ahead and I'll be doing a lot of adjusting to the screen as we go along, but I will get us into the match as soon as possible. As soon as we see eyeballs, we'll be going.
All right. So what do you think they will queue first?
I think JR is very likely to lead his druid. And I think that Jammies should probably... I think Jammies... I think Jammies will probably... I think I wouldn't be surprised to see a Shaman lead from Jammies and a Druid lead from JR. Just bring the two strongest classes you have, obviously, for sure. Because I think those are the classes that need the least amount of kind of... I think that those decks generally have much better spreads into a lot of things comparatively to some of the other classes that we see them bringing.
Oh, interesting. So we see the Shaman into the Rogue.
Okay.
So, and it does look like a Burn Shaman with the Brukan and running the Novice Zapper. And we see a Viper in the opening hand as well. Interesting.
Yep, just need JR to turn his spectate on, and then we'll be ready to get him spectated as well. So...
And it looks like JR Juggernaut has brought a Quest Rogue. So...
Alright. So not a great matchup for the Quest Rogue.
No.
Burn Shaman, with that landslide that we see in hand, gonna be pretty solid into it. Opting to pick a Blood Mage Thalnos off of his Arcane, or sorry, Primordial Studies. So we're looking at, what's it? Just switch the screen over so people can see, of course. And pretty simple, pretty much not a whole lot gonna happen in these first turns for the players. Oof. So Jambi's trading away his... I guess trading away his two tradables, Rustro Viper and Overdraft. Meanwhile, JR looks like he's gonna lead Foxy, Fraud, and Swindle.
Makes sense. It's a pretty solid turn too.
It's a very solid turn too, I would say, yeah. And for Jammies, he has a decent chunk of burn cards, but he doesn't really have a lot of the cards you want in the early game, like Wild Paw Caverns or Sleep Breaker. So he might just end up hero powering here. His Frostbite can't trigger... his Frostbite can't trigger the effect. So there's
honorable kill. Yeah.
No honorable kill to get the effect.
Yeah. And that's a very nice setup for JR Juggernaut with the SS7 operative coming down and just able to rush in and get that stealth.
It looks like a Sleep Breaker picked up, which is really good for Jammies. He gets to freeze his opponent's Foxy Fraud and gets another spell. Now that gives Multicaster 2 draws. So there's a chance next turn that Jammies might go something like Lightning Bolt plus Multicaster to get the Nature spell active and get 3 draws from Multicaster here. He doesn't have to. You can 2 draws is perfectly fine if he doesn't want to use his burn right now. We see quite a bit of JR just getting to go wide on board here. He's got a he does have a gadget, Spike Gizmo and Undercover Mole in his hand. So not looking too bad for JR. Jammy's just building up his burned cards. Nothing really to write home about towards getting to combo yet, but um, it's getting there.
I was gonna say if I were Jimmy's, I would just Thanos landslide this. No, maybe, um, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't see like. Then you're still getting your nature spell out with the landslide, and you can just play a multicaster next turn.
I agree.
Oh, he's gonna do both actually, and he's gonna draw first because Lightning Bloom is a nature spell, so that makes a lot of sense. And there we see the Wild Paw Caverns, but just a bit too late.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure Caverns will fit just nicely next turn, though. And this is where things can kind of tend to end up being a struggle for Rogue, but it looks like JR is not in a very bad spot at all. SI7 Smuggler, quite a strong card here. Gets a first Blade of Rin. Obviously won't be able to rush in because it only has the 3 health. But JR's now gives only 2 more SI cards away from being able to get his Spy Master Scabs to his
The
hand.
7/7, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty cool.
And meanwhile, Jammies doesn't have a whole lot going on here. He doesn't have any more spell power currently. But he can at least make it so only 1 point of damage can be attacked to face next turn, if he wishes. Um Using Sleepbreaker, I would perhaps more favor a line either blooming out Snowfall Guardian or just playing Wildpaw Caverns.
Yeah, I like either of those better too.
Mhm. I might have favored the Guardian because it just allows for him not to have to take that much damage. I wonder. Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
probably just take the he'll just take the value trade on the 1/3. 3/4 coming out is very awkward for Rogue to deal with. We do see XI7 Extortion in hand, which is a very cheap activator. Can get slapped right on that 3/4, make it a 3/1.
Yeah. And I think additionally, leaving one of the 3 health minion up for Frostbite is interesting as well, because then that'll be really hard for the rogue to deal with the Frostbite.
Agreed. Gab's going to hand now. JR doesn't have a way to quite play it. But yeah, getting an SI7, a big SI7 informant out is gonna be really nice. And it's going pretty white on board, but um but this is where the shaman can kind of start to stabilize a bit. I wonder if you would rip the I think you rip the wind chill because it draws.
Yeah.
But you're definitely playing
Yeah.
I think Guardians is like pretty much the absolute play here.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Because Rogue will be able to deal with it, but it'll force him to use up. You could. There is even a line where you could bloom out your Frostbite just to deny something, but just to deny a Gizmo until you play something else. But I think here we're just gonna see Scabs probably gonna use the return. The I'll see it when it happens.
Fizz
The
Flash Distractor.
Fizz Flash Distractor. So JR having to decide exactly what he wants to do. He Fizz Flashes the 3/4 instead. Very interesting. It's definitely something that I probably would not have done myself. I would have rather see the Snowfall Guardian go back to hand. I know that Scabs, because it's not even playable in this turn technically. I wonder. I think we're gonna have to see the macaw here just to freeze board. But this will set up for a brew.
Yeah,
This will set up for a nice Brucon on turn 9.
that's true. Yeah.
So definitely pretty good here. There's still 5 mana to work with, so we could even see some burn come in potentially. But looks like Jammies is just gonna want to draw cards here. Off of the wind chills that he has from Sleepbreaker.
Oh, and finds the second Guardian. That's
Finds the other
huge.
Guardian is huge. Yeah, you're right. There's just so much on Jammy's board. He's got 16 damage represented on board, and JR cannot attack it into it. He can attack into it, not without taking face damage. So he's gonna use his Gyroblade. I think with an overdraft draw, we're looking at lethal potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
So he's gonna have to probably give the Primordial Studies, which if we find another Zapper, obviously it's no overdraft going into hand, but JR might. There's not really much of a way that that's gonna get drawn, but I think with all the potential whatchamacallit coming in spell damage, I think that Landslide's gonna devastate this
That
Assassin.
Pickup.
Oh wow, Assassin off of the passage? That is really big. But
That
you know
was
what?
amazing.
You know what else is gonna be pretty big here? This Guardian's gonna be pretty big, and it's gonna board lock JR here.
That is so true.
So I think the Rogue is gonna be in a little bit of trouble after this because JR has to unfortunately board lock himself up just to get that play done to get rid of the 9/9.
There is still a Shadow Step left.
Yes, you're
for
right.
JR.
So Shadow Step
So
would
that would
create
be a huge
that.
pickup.
Okay, Zapper.
Oh,
I'm wondering
found the Zapper.
if
Let's see here.
it's
That's
very
fine.
it would I think that Jammy's probably calculated. He's either taking a safer line or he didn't calc out. I don't think that's exactly. It's very close, but I don't think that's enough damage.
He's
to
4
kill.
off.
He would be
Yeah,
4
he's
off.
4
Yeah.
off.
So the passage here, he has to rip passage and hope to find the second Shadow Step. Does not find it. Gonna trade. Finds it. So he's gonna be able to Shadow Step an Assassin and kill off the 13/13.
It's still gonna be.
Oh, my client broke, I think. Nice.
Oh wait, actually, I think what you should do first is wait.
Oh, is he gonna?
Is he gonna like Tenwu shenanigans?
I don't know. My client broke.
Oh shoot, sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'm still watching. I can stream for you if you want.
No, you're fine. I'll be in a second.
Okay. So it looks like he's gonna try for the Tenwu shenanigans.
Gotcha. That doesn't. I still think that only makes one of them playable. Because the Tenwu just takes the place of the other one.
It does, sadly. Yeah.
So Jammies will be able to take the lethal with the spell damage and the spells, I think, with the 7 damage. Being able to go face here.
Yeah.
Is a very good attempt by JR.
Yeah.
For sure.
He did everything he could, for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And drawing the Serpent Shrine here is just icing on the cake.
I assume that Jammies will just play all the cards that were in his hand previously. Yes, he will. So,
yep.
Definitely definitely not going to say, oh, I drew into it. He's going to say, I had it, regardless. So,
yeah.
Good win from Jammies in game 1 to get the Burn Shaman through against the Quest Rogue. It does the... Unfortunately, I assume that JR might have read a Paladin lead from... he may have looked at it. He may have looked at a Paladin, but also, so there are definitely scenarios where you want to lead where you end up leading your one of your weaker decks in hero, and just kind of being able to counter from there. I think we're going to see the Hunter from JR. Yeah, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm acting on instinct.
Are you ready to fight?
Right. So this is what I'm gonna say because I'm not quite looking there. It's probably Quest Shaman from JR. It is. It is indeed Quest Shaman. It looks like
Wait, Quest Hunter, you mean?
yeah, Quest Hunter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
gotcha.
it's
That
Quest
makes
Hunter from
sense.
JR. He's got Dumbledore Bunker. He's got the Spring the Trap. There's a lot of different lists going around of for Quest Hunter. Um so some lists will run Spring the Trap, some lists won't. Um but anyway, JR has definitely has a decent start for being able to play things, and there's no Wild Paw Cavern, so Jammies won't get the turbo start um for himself. But having the early primordial studies is nice for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And able
Oh,
to
I
get
guess you
that
generally pick
Zapper.
Zapper here. I think Zapper is the best
Yeah.
pick just because it kind of gives overload. It's really nice to hold for later. There is a world in which you can go for Vosh, but I think you pick Zapper because this deck just aims to try and burst them in one shot.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
And Zapper's also free now, so that makes a lot
yeah,
of sense.
definitely. So Dumbledore Bunker played with a Ice Trap picked up in hand, and then a Freezing Trap for JR. Looks like he'll be able to interact with the board here to get some parts of his. Oh, he's gonna. Okay, I don't mind the Ice Trap play here. Play and go Wound Prey here. I personally might have also wanted to play my Bola Shot because there's not many opportunities that
Yeah,
you're actually gonna get the Bola Shot in
I
this game.
completely agree.
I
Yeah.
think it's not the end of the world to play the Ice Trap there, but you could have. He might have just been able to hold off that till next turn. Um, Granted, he
Mhm.
could be reading like a coin. He could be reading something like Coin Wild Paw, in which case that would be stopped. But
Sure, yeah.
Jammies is sitting in a situation where he doesn't really even want a totem because he's going to give JR possible quest progression. So
Oh.
I think, I mean, he could hero power and play. He could technically hero power and play Wind Chill, and that would be fine. Because it would
It
just
would
be able to
draw him
churn
a
through the deck.
card, but
It would churn through the
yeah.
deck. I think for Shaman, I think he probably wants to churn. I think churning through his deck is a little better than not.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
because this matchup, like the hunter will eventually be able to get their quest done. Regardless, I mean, granted, you want to give yourself as many turns as possible, but one thing is that his hands is pretty clogged up with things that he doesn't want to play. There is a way where we might even see a Brucon in 2 turns, and that would be a very interesting thing. Perhaps, perhaps. Okay, so JR's turn just went Explosive Trap in second, and then Bunker activated and finished. He was able to complete quest with the aim shot. But I think you're gonna want to test. You're
Yeah.
definitely gonna want to test here for Ice Trap.
Here's the ice trap.
So that's.
Interesting though, I would have used coin to test for it instead of the wind chill. I don't really like.
I wonder if he's gonna wait and go Bloom Coin Brucon next turn.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes
I
sense.
think that's a possible line to take. I've noticed when I've played this matchup
Yeah.
as the Burn Shaman that sometimes an early Brucon with a little bit of luck with your hero powers, that you
That
get
makes
can
sense.
definitely create a scam. Because this is a pretty terrible matchup for the deck, unfortunately. Bola
Yeah.
Shot's going to be able to get played here, as well as second aim shot. So JR will have a very big swing in dealing, I believe that's 6 damage. So now the Shaman will be down to 18. And JR is now just two triggers away from getting his quest completed for Tavish. And now we do see the Brucon here. So I wonder what he's gonna pick besides. I wonder if he'll pick Fire Invocation and Water Invocation.
Water. Yeah, just restore health and
Swing the
deal
board,
damage.
swing it by 12 health. Keep yourself even.
kinda like
He
that,
gets the
yeah.
fire hero power.
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty good.
Wow. That's amazing.
he has played 3 things, so his multicaster will draw 3 cards.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's a pretty big deal.
Still sitting at 27. Like, as the Burn Shaman, I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Definitely. I mean, you either have to decide between hero powering. He's gonna. Okay, so are we gonna see a little bit of a? We're gonna see him maybe go. He's gonna go in with damage here a little bit because he has the hero power, and he'll be able to go Zapper, Lightning Bloom, Overdraft, and hero power, and maybe the multicaster. I did not calc the.
Yeah, let's take a look.
I didn't exactly calculate the mana.
So that's Overdraft deals 5
Hmm.
with spell damage.
It'll deal 7.
No, it'll deal 6.
It'll deal 7
because...
with. It'll deal 7 with damage because of his.
Oh yeah, right. I'm sorry. It'll deal 7.
So we're gonna see. We're gonna get multicaster plus. So he draws Cavern, Viper, and Zapper. Okay, so he'll just hero power and set JR to 7.
Yeah.
This Hunter does not have a way. Notably, Hunter does not have a way to regain its health, while Shaman has the invocation there. JR, definitely should bullish shot the 3/4. Just remove
3/4.
remove the spell damage. Don't want to make that
Plus,
mistake.
then you get the honorable kill for the.
Which means that he gets Ice Trap.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Granted, I guess the honorable kill doesn't really matter because that casts 1 secret regardless, and 2. Yeah, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But because all 3 of his secrets are now played.
Yes. So from this point, we'll see
Trade
Viper.
And that's lethal. Wow. Or wait, no.
No, it is. It is. It is.
It is because
he'll get to cast it again.
Yeah.
It'll cost 2. Yeah. So Burn Shaman pulling a win out of its Brucon. Wow.
Nice.
That is absolutely massive. JR's final deck is I believe Druid. So it's not completely done. If it's Spell Druid, if it's Ramp Druid / Kazakazin Druid, definitely a decent shot that this deck can win here. And it might actually have some super favored matchups going forward. But we'll have to see what JR brings for sure. So there's definitely a chance that Spell Druid is just pretty much favored into the rest of Jammy's lineup. Which is really interesting. We're in a scenario where JR has to reverse sweep on the Kazakazin Druid.
Yeah, and that is what it looks like we're seeing here is a Ramp Druid.
Definitely. The captured Cold Tooth Mine early is a very good card. I would suspect that JR probably keeps that card, and then the other 2 cards get mulligan. What do you think about for Jammies for mulligan?
For Jammies, against Druid, you don't really want Wind Chill early, I would suspect. Maybe you try and go for the Wildpaw Caverns on 2 and just keep Lightning Bloom. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly what I would have done as Jammies.
Yeah.
And exactly what you said. Well, he drew his Kazakazin, so with captured Cold Tooth Mine, we might see if he's running if JR's gonna run Onyxia or not. But another Burn Shaman game, another Primordial Studies on 1 for Jammies. He could potentially go for the early Zapper to put to get an early minion on board. I wouldn't hate it because of Primo Studies coming down the next turn. I think you take Vosh here for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tempo Vosh next turn is very strong. Fortunately for JR, he does have a Moon Touched Amulet. There we go. He goes in opposite take the lowest card, so this deck does top at Kazakazin.
So we might see the.
All right, so
No.
JR has a good understanding that he can kind of work with life total. He doesn't have to necessarily. He
Yeah.
needs to just draw cards in his deck. He misses Bloom. He has double Innervate, but no Bloom. Here he
Unfortunate.
can't get
Yeah.
Kazakhstan out neck. If he had gotten Bloom with a fortunate draw, he might be able to have actually Kazakhstan, which maybe not the best card in this matchup, but Jammies is kind of understanding this matchup to be one where you just play for
Just
tempo.
go quick. Yeah,
Yeah, he's just playing
absolutely.
for tempo.
Just want to cast as many things as fast as you can.
Yeah, so he's gonna force Jared to actually have to remove the Vosh.
Yeah.
So Vosh Prime, while not great, obviously for a few turns now.
Oh, but there's the Brukan, so now
Yeah,
James can potentially go coin Bloom Brukan next turn.
yeah, maybe a little hasty in this matchup. I maybe
Yeah.
not honestly. Um, I think he can potentially take it slow here, but he could potentially go for some more burn. Notably, I don't think that anything would come off Macaw here. He hasn't played the Battlecry
No.
minions as far as I can remember.
No, it's not. And I don't really think tempoing a 3/3 is the move right now.
Oh no, I think if you're tempoing, you're playing your Zapper and playing Frostbite to his face and dealing 6
Absolutely.
damage. Putting the Druid to
Yeah.
12 is pretty good. I think you can just slow play this potentially, and just go hero power. Hits taunt minion, so no damage can go face. JR is gonna probably rip his because I would guess he's gonna rip Kazakhstan, but he might want to draw more of his deck. He might want to try and find Guff first. I think that's a big reason why things are so strong. But no, he's gonna just say, I need my game winning. I need the part of the game, my deck that wins me the game, and that's my Kazakhstan. So let's see what
He
treasures
does
he gets.
have double solar eclipse, which with some of the treasure spells is amazing.
Yeah, he got Book of the Dead. He doesn't take Book because not a lot of stuff has died. Horn, Canopic Jars are split. I think you take Horn. I like
Oh,
I
he gets horn and he
I
can
I
take
like Crustacean.
real. I guess
Maybe.
for the big freeze, but like what minions is Druid playing to make the freeze
Hmm?
the Guardian big? Not many, right? So
Yeah,
I
but
don't know
even
if I
to
would
even
take.
in this case, like you can potentially
Mm,
if the Kazakhstan's not really going to do much. I think even this turn that
yeah,
he can maybe play Brucon, but he could also just go ahead and play. He could have also just gone ahead and played the Guardian
the
instead.
Snowfall
But we're gonna see
Guardian.
Brucon,
Yeah.
and we're gonna see JR put on a clock. Very likely to
Hmm.
see probably Earth Invo and Fire Invo here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Put JR to exactly 8 and put taunts in the way. So Burn Shaman can tempo. It's
And he gets the
Oh my
fire
gosh, are
hero
you kidding
power.
me? So lucky, dude.
Wow.
He got so lucky. Oh man, he gets
That's crazy.
the crustacean to remove that, but that could go face. It does go
Oh my
face.
goodness.
The frostbite is we now
That
know that
is.
frostbite is lethal. There's nothing JR can unfortunately
Yeah.
do about it.
Wow.
Yeah, especially
Oh
with the
my
2-3 on the
goodness.
board. Oh, I
And the
feel
2/3s on the board. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just
Wow.
such an unfortunate series, and I mean, the burn shaman showing up big for Jammies to take
Absolutely.
to take that
Yeah.
sweep. It's and to win. This is like I'm starting to wonder if that matchup really is as polarized as I've heard it made out to be because I've seen 3 times I've seen the hunter lose that matchup, maybe
Yeah.
4. I think it's 4. I've seen that matchup go sour for the hunter because of one reason or the other.
But yeah, that was again quite a performance by the Burn Shaman. all throughout. I mean, just absolutely dominating. Are we gonna get Jimmy's in here for an interview?
I would guess we are. But yeah, I mean, really like I don't feel like JR made any particular massive misplays to lose him the series. I just like Brucon on 5 is so brutal for those decks
Yeah.
because then everything's a kind of a ticking clock based on how the hero power roll. And like, yeah, he potentially could have rolled, deal 2 damage to all minions, a bunch in that
Sure.
last matchup, and that one, and he may have had it. And JR could have maybe got back in it, but JR also didn't get the best. He didn't really get the best stuff, for treasures, unfortunately. He didn't get embers or anything like that. Um, but also JR didn't have that much mana to work with, unfortunately. And then it was kind of like, oh, you play Kazakhstan, I'm gonna play my late game card. But I'm gonna have Jamie's added in here for the call.
All right. Hello, Jimmy's.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, friend.
Congratulations. GG.
Thanks. Yeah, that was that yeah. You get Brucon off on 2 games in a row. It's gonna be hard to lose those. So
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Oh,
it
yeah.
worked out for JR like that. And then I got the fire one immediately as soon as he
Yeah.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
So-
It was.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Mhm. It was
So-
just unfortunate, really, for JR.
Mhm.
But you played like you made the correct plays. Like even in that last, like in that last turn, I thought, well, maybe he slow plays this and just goes for the Guardian. But then I was like, oh no, but the Brucon just felt so good both of those games, especially into the Hunter. I feel like that's the main way that the Shaman wins that matchup is an early Brucon.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I actually went into Pizza's chat because I saw that he was playing the deck, and
Mm-hmm.
that was my concern. Like he's gonna bring Quest Hunter because it's got a really good spread against what I'm bringing.
Yeah.
So I was trying to, and I saw that it was like I think at all ranks it's like super unfavored
Mhm.
for Burn Shaman, but as you filter out for like higher ranks, it gets a little more even, but still favored towards the Quest
Mhm.
Hunter.
Yeah.
And I was just like, so, any special mulligan or anything to like give me a little bit of an edge? And he's like, just look for the Brucon, find him as soon as you can, and play him as soon as you can. And
Yeah.
you know, I followed his advice, and it worked out.
There you go. Wise words of advice from the fantastic Hearthstone player Pizza. So yeah, your team now takes a pretty big lead this week with I believe it's 8-2 now with your sweep. So
Yeah,
looking, obviously week's not over, but it's looking quite good for you. It's looking quite good for you guys. Fantastic outing for you. And it's always a pleasure to get to watch you play and to watch JR play as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I figure with
It was
the week not over, it's probably not great to, especially during playoffs, to have to ask you to run through all your reasoning and prep for the decks, because we only saw one of your decks. So, I guess I guess I'll say, how are you feeling coming into the match versus coming out? Because obviously you gotta be feeling good now.
yeah. No, I felt really confident. I looked at my spread and I thought I had a good lineup. Regardless of what he banned, I had 2 classes that I felt could match up well against anything that he could potentially bring.
Yeah.
So the whole time I was thinking, like once I got the first one with Shaman, I was like, okay, like I feel very confident now. Like after that, the Quest Rogue win, I felt very even more like I was already really confident going into this. Yeah, not because like JR is a great player. It's just more of like I think I had an idea of what he was gonna bring, and the only class that surprised me that he didn't bring was I was anticipating Demon Hunter. But other than that, he brought stuff that I thought he would bring. So I had brought Paladin all season. I thought it would be a nice curveball to throw in there, even though I didn't get to play it. So
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
mhm. And as far as like our playoff chances, I'm liking our chances. We still have Genji, Wayfair, and Nomad, so I'm very confident that between the 3 of them we can eke out at least one more win.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so I guess Roadrunner, do you have any questions? Well,
Yeah. Any advice to uh burn shaman players out there? I'm trying to climb with it on ladder, and yeah, so
Yeah, so you could be better than me if you could find the caverns on one.
oh yeah.
I kept Lightning Bloom because I said, all
Oh
right,
yeah.
I didn't get a game one, I didn't get a game two, right? Like law of averages.
Oh,
I have to
it's
get a
gotta
game
be
three.
this one. Yeah, I
But I'll
mean,
take
mhm.
Brucon on five any day of the week too.
Yeah, I think.
Mm,
I mean, that's just, in my opinion, that's obviously the correct mulligan line, regardless. Because, I mean, nothing else really in those hands felt worth keeping, especially into those particular matchups. Yeah,
Yeah, I was very much considering doing a full Mullen. I was just like, you know what, maybe I can high roll
yeah,
into this druid. Like regardless of what he brings, like the lightning bloom should be good.
yeah,
Maybe I can like bloom out a the frost dude if it's beast druid and kind of
hmm,
freeze everything.
yeah,
Or yeah, like hopefully get the caverns and that's
hmm,
good in any matchup.
yeah. I mean, JR's lineup was pretty tailored to deal with your Burn Shaman minus the Rogue. Um, with you banning his well, you banned his shaman, which I guess probably would have ended up being a burn shaman mirror. It would be my guess if that was played, but obviously we don't know for sure. um so I think both players bought, I think you guys both bought lineups that could have easily won into the other one. It fell your way this time though, which is, really really good for you um and your team.
Yeah.
So
mm-hmm.
I guess, any final thing you want to say before we go ahead and wrap up?
Yeah. In this epic battle of yin and yang, it looks like Yang is coming out ahead. So right, is that did I get that right? I mix it up
Sure,
all the
you
time.
did. You did.
Okay, yeah. We we share a Discord server, and Bone Masher kind of removed himself because was able to see both teams.
Yes.
So and we haven't really like said anything to each other.
Hmm.
Just kind of like
Hmm.
whoever wins wins, and we have at least one team in the final. So
Yeah.
it's exciting that we made it this far, especially our team. We like it. It really like we had a lot of opportunities to kind of lock up a playoff over the last couple of weeks, but the mini. I think that was around the time that the mini set had just come out, and I typically do really bad whenever a set changes because I like to experiment, and they always end up terrible, and I get run over. Um, but I mean, we like snuck in, like you know, had a little bit of luck and other stuff go our way the previous match, and now we're really showing out this round too. So it's exciting. Like I feel like whenever I'm the underdog, I always do better.
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
never like every time that we're favored, it's always like a flame out loss. But
Hmm.
feels good to have no expectations and continue to win and
Yeah.
hopefully take the whole thing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for our teams to meet in the finals. But first, my team has to get it done against Diamond's team. So we'll see how
Mhm.
that ends up. But either way, shaping up to be a really exciting, shaping up for your match to be really exciting. For everyone watching and for everyone not involved in the match, they probably love to see it get evened up. But for you, you'd probably just like to see the next match get won in the series to be over, so that way you
Yeah,
guys don't have to. That way you don't have to sweat it out.
yeah. On to next week. On to next
On
week.
to the next
I'd
one,
love.
right?
Yeah. There
Yeah,
you go.
there you go. Yeah, again, congratulations on winning. Thank you to Jammies and JR for playing on stream. Roadrunner, thank you for casting with me. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem. That was fun for
Yeah.
sure.
So, and thank you to chat
Yeah.
for being here and cheering on your teammates from APM. Um yeah, so that'll do it for us on Wicked Wednesday, and we will see you all next time. Tomorrow night for Wild and Out at 7, and then either maybe at 10 p.m. at least, maybe earlier if we get other matches, for Just in Time versus Lawful Dog. So great slate of things coming up tomorrow. Keep your eyes on the Discord for announcements, and we will see you all then. Have a fantastic night. And stay
Exciting
safe,
stuff.
everyone. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.